Jin Kim stood at the large window of Station GC7, looking at the stars. His new silver diplomatic badge felt heavy on his chest. As the first human mediator for the Galactic Council, he knew all eyes were on him. "Ambassador Kim, the council meeting begins in 10 minutes, said his assistant through his earpiece. Jin straightened his dark blue suit and walked toward the main hall. The station's curved hallways were filled with beings from across the galaxy. Some floated, others crawled, and many walked on legs like humans. Jin nodded politely to everyone he passed. The main hall was huge, with high ceilings that seemed to touch the stars. Hundreds of seats were arranged in circles, going up like stairs. Each seat held a representative from a different world. Jin wasn't supposed to speak today. He was here to watch and learn. As he found his seat, he noticed the Meridian delegate entering the hall. The Meridians were one of the oldest species in the galaxy. They looked like tall, thin humans made of blue crystal. This delegate was important. She had helped make peace in 3 major wars. That's when Jin saw something move in the shadows above. His eyes caught a flash of metal, a weapon. Without thinking, he jumped from his seat. "Get down," he shouted, running toward the Meridian delegate. Time seemed to slow down. The shot came quietly, just a soft buzz. But Jin had already reached the delegate. He pushed her down, feeling something hot pass over his shoulder. The weapon had missed them both. Alarms started ringing. Security forces appeared from hidden doors, their weapons ready. The other delegates were screaming and running. But Jin stayed with the Meridian delegate, shielding her with his body, until security said it was safe. "You saved my life," the Meridian delegate said. Her crystal body glowed with blue light. "But why?" "You don't know me. I'm not from your world." Jin helped her stand up. "It doesn't matter where you're from. Saving lives is just what humans do." Security Chief Jae-yun Park arrived with her team. She was young for her job, but her sharp eyes missed nothing. "Ambassador Kim, are you hurt?" "I'm fine," Jin said. "But we need to find who did this. The council won't be safe until we do." Jae-yun nodded. "The shooter escaped through the air vents, but they left something behind." She held up a small metal piece that looked like a broken machine part. The Meridian delegate touched Jin's shoulder. "Human," she said, "you showed great courage today. Your people are new to the galaxy, but you acted without fear. Why?" Jin thought for a moment. "On Earth, we have many different countries and cultures. We learned long ago that protecting each other is important, even if we're different. Especially if we're different." News of what happened spread quickly through the station. Aliens gathered in the halls, pointing at Jin and whispering. Many had thought humans were too new to be useful in galactic politics. Now they weren't so sure. "This changes things," Jae-yun said quietly to Jin. "They're all watching us now." Jin looked at the stars through the hall's big windows. "Then we better show them what humans can do." In her crystal voice, the Meridian delegate spoke to both of them. "I think the galaxy has much to learn from humans. This is just the beginning." She was right. It was just the beginning. Security Chief Jae-yun Park hadn't slept in 2 days. Her office walls were covered with holographic images from the assassination attempt. She watched the video again. Ambassador Jin Kim running, pushing the Meridian delegate down, the flash of the weapon. "Play it again," she said to her computer. "Slow down at Mark 3. The door opened, and Jin walked in. He carried 2 cups of coffee. Real coffee from Earth. "You look tired," he said, putting 1 cup on her desk. "This doesn't make sense," Jae-yun said, pointing at the images. "The shooter had a perfect shot. Why did they miss?" Jin sipped his coffee. Maybe they didn't miss. Maybe they wanted to cause fear, not death. Jae-yun's eyes widened. She quickly typed on her computer, bringing up new images. "Look at this," she said. "In the last month, There have been 5 other incidents at different diplomatic meetings. No one died, but everyone is scared. Someone wants to stop the peace talks, Du Jin said. The computer beeped. A message appeared from the station's security system. They had found something in the air vents, a small computer chip. Jia-yun picked it up carefully. "This is old technology," she said. "Very old. Only the ancient species would use something like this." Du Jin looked confused. But why would an ancient species want to stop peace talks? Before Jia-yun could answer, her computer screen lit up with new messages. The video of Du Jin saving the Meridian delegate had spread across the galaxy. Aliens everywhere were watching it, studying it. "Look at these comments," Jia-yun said. "Humans react differently. They don't follow normal patterns. How did he know to act so quickly?" They were interrupted by a soft knock. A young human stood at the door. Hansol, one of the new diplomatic aides. He looked excited. "Chief Park, Ambassador Kim, you need to see this," Hansol said. He connected his tablet to Jia-yun's computer. "I've been reading about Earth's history of diplomacy. We're not the first humans to act differently than aliens expect." The screen filled with images of human diplomatic meetings throughout history, enemy soldiers sharing meals, former rivals signing peace treaties, old fights turning into friendships. "Humans keep doing what Ambassador Kim did," Hansol explained. "We jump in to help, even when it's not our problem. Other species don't understand why." Jia-yun stood up suddenly. "That's it. The ancient species are worried because they don't understand us. We're new, different, unpredictable. And some people don't like what they can't understand," Du Jin added quietly. The computer beeped again. This time, it was a message from the Meridian delegate. She wanted to meet with them privately, away from the council. "She says she has important information," Jia-yun read, "but she'll only share it with humans." Du Jin looked at the holographic images one more time. The weapon flash, his own quick movement, the surprised faces of the aliens watching. "We're missing something big here," he said. "This isn't just about one assassination attempt. This is about humans changing how the galaxy works." Jia-yun nodded. "And some people really don't want things to change." Hansol looked at both of them. "What do we do next?" "We meet with the Meridian delegate," Jia-yun said firmly. "And we find out why Earth's way of doing things scares them so much." Outside Jia-yun's office window, the stars seemed to shine brighter. Something was changing in the galaxy, and humans were at the center of it all. Hansol sat in the station's library, surrounded by floating screens of information. He had been reading for hours about how different species handled conflicts. His eyes were tired, but he couldn't stop. Something important was hidden in all this information. The door slid open. Yu Jinli walked in, carrying her research tablet. She was a xenopsychologist, someone who studied how different alien species think. She looked at Hansol's screens and smiled. "Found anything interesting?" she asked, sitting down next to him. "Look at this," Hansol said, pointing to one screen. "When the Meridians have a problem, they think for 100 years before doing anything. The Centauri fight first and talk later. But humans, we do both at once." Yu Jin finished his sentence. "We think and act at the same time." They were interrupted by Ambassador Du Jin and Security Chief Jia-yun entering the library. They had just finished meeting with the Meridian delegate. "What did she tell you?" Hansol asked eagerly. Du Jin sat down heavily. "The ancient species are worried. They say humans are too unpredictable. We don't follow the normal rules of diplomacy." Yu Jin's eyes lit up. She quickly typed on her tablet, bringing up images of human brains. "That's because our brains are different. Look at this research." Everyone gathered around her screen. Yu Jin pointed to different parts of the brain images. "Humans can think about many things at once," she explained. When Ambassador Du Jin saw the weapon, he thought about the danger, the need to help, and how to move, all in 1 second. Other species can't do that. Is that why we're good at diplomacy? Hansol asked. Yujin nodded excitedly. We can understand many different views at the same time. When other species argue, they only see their own side. But humans naturally try to understand everyone's point of view. Jai-yun leaned forward. That's why the ancient species are scared. Humans can bring peace in ways they never thought of. We need to tell the council, Du-jin said. Yujin, can you explain this to them? Before Yujin could answer, alarms started ringing throughout the station. Red lights flashed in the library. Jai-yun's security device beeped urgently. 3 species are threatening war, she read from the device. The council can't calm them down. Du-jin stood up quickly. They're asking for human mediators. All of us need to go. Now. As they rushed from the library, Hansol looked at the screens of information one last time. Everything made sense now. Humans weren't just different. They were exactly what the galaxy needed. Wait, Yujin said as they ran. I need to record this. This is the first time in galactic history that humans are being called in to solve a major crisis. Let's hope we're ready, Du-jin said. Jai-yun checked her security weapon. Ready or not, this is our chance to show what humans can really do. They reached the council chamber doors. Inside, they could hear angry voices in many languages. The translator computers were having trouble keeping up with all the shouting. Remember, Yujin said quietly, we can do this because we're human. Our brains evolved to solve exactly this kind of problem. Du-jin straightened his diplomatic badge. Then let's go solve it. The doors opened, and the 4 humans walked in together. The galaxy was about to learn why humans always got diplomatic immunity. Because they earned it. The council chamber was chaos. 3 alien species stood at their speaking platforms, shouting at each other. The Altarians, who looked like tall trees with silver leaves, waved their branches angrily. The Nexus, floating clouds of purple gas, sparked with electricity. The Valari, reptiles with golden scales, showed their sharp teeth. Du-jin, Jai-yun, Hansol, and Yujin watched from the entrance. Other diplomats had already failed to calm things down. Now everyone was looking at the humans. What are they fighting about? Hansol whispered to Du-jin. Territory, Du-jin replied quietly. They all claim the same space area. It has rare materials they all want. Yujin studied the angry aliens through her scientist's eyes. Look at their body language. The Altarians raise their branches higher to show power. The Nexus make themselves bigger. The Valari bare their teeth. Just like Earth animals marking their territory, Jai-yun said. Du-jin stepped forward. His voice was calm but strong enough to carry across the chamber. Please, may we help? The chamber went quiet. The Altarian leader spoke first, leaves rustling. Why should we trust humans? You are too young to understand such old conflicts. Because we're young, Du-jin answered. We see things differently. Sometimes new eyes find new solutions. The Nexus leader floated closer. Our conflict is too complex for simple solutions. Then let's not look for simple solutions, Yujin said. Let's look for different ones. Jai-yun stepped up beside them. We've studied your histories. This territory dispute is about more than just resources, isn't it? The Valari leader's scales flickered. What do you mean? It's about respect, Hansol said suddenly. Each of you wants to be seen as powerful and important. The 3 alien species stopped moving. Hansol had said what no one else dared to say. Du-jin smiled. On Earth, we learned something important. Real power isn't about who owns what. It's about who can work together best. What are you suggesting? The Altarian leader asked. Let us show you, Du-jin said. Give us 3 days. Let us try something that's never been tried before. The alien leaders looked at each other. Years of anger and distrust hung in the air between them. Finally, the Nexus leader spoke. 3 days, no more. If you fail, the Valari leader added, there will be war. Du Jin bowed slightly. We understand. As the alien leaders left the chamber, Yu Jin turned to her fellow humans. 3 days to prevent a war. How? We do what humans do best. Du Jin said. We bring people together. Jia checked her security data. The station has a large garden level. It's neutral ground. Perfect. Du Jin smiled. Han Sol, find out what each species likes to eat. Yu Jin, study how they interact in informal settings. Jia, make sure the garden is secure. What are you planning? Han Sol asked. Something very human, Du Jin replied. We're going to have a dinner party. The other humans looked surprised, then understood. On Earth, many conflicts had been solved not in meeting rooms, but around dinner tables. As they left the chamber to prepare, other alien diplomats watched them with new interest. The humans weren't doing anything the way it was usually done. Maybe that was exactly what the galaxy needed. The station's garden level was beautiful. Real plants from 100 worlds grew under artificial sunlight. Fountains made soft splashing sounds. In the center, Du Jin and his team had set up 3 different dining areas. The Altarians prefer to stand, Han Sol explained, checking his notes. The Nexus like to float near the ceiling. The Valari need heated seats. Yu Jin walked around each area, making small adjustments. Each species has their own space, but they can all see each other. Very important. Jia security teams finished their checks. The garden is secure, she reported. But are we sure about this? No one has ever tried solving the galactic crisis with dinner. That's why it will work, Du Jin said confidently. Sometimes the best way to understand someone is to share a meal with them. The garden doors opened. The 3 alien leaders entered, looking confused. They had expected another formal meeting, not this. Welcome, Du Jin said warmly. Please, make yourselves comfortable. The Altarian leader's leaves rustled uncertainly. What is this? On Earth, Du Jin explained. We find that good food helps create good conversations. Each of you has your own space, with food from your homeworld. The aliens moved to their areas. Servers brought out carefully prepared dishes. The Altarians received glowing crystals that they absorbed through their leaves. The Nexus had special gases they could mix into their forms. The Valari got hot, spiced meats. At first, no one spoke. They just ate. Then, slowly, the mood began to change. This spice, the Valari leader said, it reminds me of home. As does this light frequency, the Altarian leader added. It is pleasant. Yu Jin moved between the groups, asking questions about their foods, their customs, their homes. Han Sol took notes, seeing how the aliens relaxed when talking about familiar things. Tell us about your worlds, Du Jin suggested. Not your conflicts, your homes. Surprisingly, they did. The Altarians spoke of their forest cities. The Nexus described their beautiful gas storms. The Valari told stories of their ancient desert temples. You know, the Nexus leader said after a while, we've never actually talked like this before. Jia, watching from her security position, saw something important happening. The aliens were starting to see each other as people, not just enemies. Then Du Jin asked a simple question. What if the disputed territory didn't have to belong to just one species? The room got quiet. The alien leaders looked at each other. What do you mean? The Valari leader asked. On Earth, Du Jin explained, many countries share important resources. They work together instead of fighting. Share. The Altarians' leaves shimmered. That's not how things are done. Maybe, Yu Jin said gently, that's why things aren't working. Han Sol stepped forward with his tablet. Look at these examples from Earth. When countries share resources, everyone gets more than they would alone. The alien leaders studied the information. They looked thoughtful. It would be different, the Nexus leader admitted. Different can be good, Du Jin said, like this dinner. As the evening ended, The three alien leaders were actually talking to each other, making plans to meet again. It wasn't peace yet, but it was a start. I can't believe it worked, Jai-yun said quietly to Du-jin. Du-jin smiled. Never underestimate the power of good food and simple conversation. It's one of humanity's best diplomatic secrets. The day after the dinner party, trouble started. Du-jin was walking to his office when he heard the whispers. Aliens in the hallway pointed at him and talked in low voices. The humans are manipulating everyone, one voice said. They're too powerful, said another. Too dangerous. Inside his office, Jai-yun was waiting with bad news. Someone tried to break into our computer systems last night, she said. They wanted information about human brain patterns. That's not all, Hansol added, rushing in. Look at these messages spreading across the galaxy. He showed them his tablet. False stories about humans were everywhere. Yu-jin joined them, looking worried. The ancient species are scared. Our way of solving problems threatens their power. Suddenly, the lights went out. The office door locked itself. Get down, Jai-yun shouted. A second later, something hit the window, making small cracks in the special glass. They're trying to kill us, Hansol said, his voice shaking. No, Jai-yun corrected, checking her security screens. They're trying to scare us. Make us leave. The lights came back on. Du-jin's computer showed an urgent message from the Meridian delegate. Meet me in the old storage area. Important information. It's probably a trap, Jai-yun said. Probably, Du-jin agreed. But we need to know why this is happening. Yu-jin, Hansol, stay here and keep working on the peace agreement. Jai-yun and I will meet the delegate. The old storage area was far from the main station areas. It was dark and full of forgotten boxes and machines. Du-jin and Jai-yun walked carefully, watching for danger. The Meridian delegate was waiting for them, her crystal body glowing softly. I had to warn you, she said. The ancient species, they've been controlling everything for thousands of years. They start wars, then end them. They create problems, then solve them. It keeps them in power. And now humans are solving problems without them, Du-jin said, understanding. Yes, they want to stop you before. The delegate stopped suddenly. Behind you. Jai-yun spun around, her weapon ready. Shadows moved in the darkness. They weren't alone. Run, Jai-yun shouted. She pushed Du-jin and the delegate toward the door. Weapons fired, making strange buzzing sounds. Jai-yun shot back, her earth weapon much louder than the alien ones. They ran through the storage area, ducking behind boxes. The attackers followed, but Jai-yun knew the layout better. She led them through a maze of old equipment. This way, she said, opening a hidden panel. Emergency tunnel. They crawled through the small space. Behind them, they could hear their attackers getting confused in the storage area. Wait, Du-jin said when they were safe. The assassination attempt on you, he said to the Meridian delegate. It wasn't random, was it? The delegate's crystal body dimmed slightly. No, I was going to speak out against the ancient species. They tried to stop me. Just like they're trying to stop humans now, Jai-yun added. Du-jin stood up straighter. Well, they failed then, and they'll fail now, because we won't stop helping people, no matter what they do. That, said the delegate, is exactly what they're afraid of. As they walked back to the main station areas, Du-jin's mind was racing. The ancient species had shown their hand. Now it was time for humans to show what they could really do. The galaxy was about to change, whether the ancient species liked it or not. The main council chamber was packed. Every species in the galaxy had sent representatives. They all wanted to see what the humans would do. Du-jin stood at the central platform. Behind him, Yu-jin prepared their presentation. Jai-yun and Hansol watched from the sides, ready to help. Members of the council, Du-jin began, we need to talk about why humans are different, and why that's good for everyone. Angry voices rose from where the ancient species sat. Humans are dangerous, one shouted. They change things too fast. Yes, we do change things, Du Jin agreed calmly. But let me show you why. Yu Jin stepped forward. She pressed a button, and large images appeared in the air. They showed Earth, its many countries, different cultures, thousands of languages. Our world has always been divided, Yu Jin explained. We had to learn how to live together, how to understand each other. Hansol added new images, historical pictures of Earth's wars and peace treaties. We made many mistakes, Du Jin continued, but each time we learned. We grew better at seeing all sides of a problem. The council chamber was quiet now. Everyone was watching. Look at the territory dispute we just helped solve, Du Jin said. The ancient species said it couldn't be fixed, but we found a way. The Altarian, Nexus, and Valeri leaders floated forward. Their meeting had continued after the dinner party. Now they had news. The humans helped us see something important, the Nexus leader said. We were so busy fighting, we forgot to listen. They didn't tell us what to do, the Valeri leader added. They helped us find our own solution. And now we have peace, the Altarian leader finished. Real peace, not forced peace. Yu Jin showed new pictures, human brain scans next to alien ones. Humans naturally think about many views at once. We can't help it. It's how we evolved. That's why we jump in to help, Hansol explained. Why we protect others without thinking. Why we look for new solutions. An ancient species leader stood up. But you're changing how things work. The old ways. The old ways aren't working anymore, Jai-yun interrupted. Look at how many conflicts we still have. Look at how many people suffer. Du Jin raised his hands for quiet. We don't want to control anyone. We just want to help. Because when we help others, everyone wins. The Meridian delegate stood up. Her crystal body glowed brightly. I support the humans, she said clearly. They saved my life. They'd brought more peace in a few days than we've had in years. One by one, other species started standing. The Altarians, the Nexus, the Valeri. More and more joined them. The ancient species leaders looked worried. Their power was slipping away. This is the future, Du Jin said firmly. Not humans controlling things, but humans helping everyone work together. And we invite everyone to join us, even the ancient species. Yu Jin showed one last image. Earth seen from space. Our planet looks small from here, she said. But we learned big lessons there, and we're ready to share them. The council chamber erupted in cheers. Species that had never agreed on anything were standing together. Look at that, Hansol said quietly to his friends. We did it. No, Du Jin corrected him. We just showed them how to do it themselves. That's the real human factor. And in that moment, everything in the galaxy changed. The age of forced peace was over. The age of working together had begun. 3 weeks after the council meeting, the station was different. Happy voices filled the hallways. Species that once avoided each other now talked freely. And at the center of it all were the humans. Du Jin sat in his new office, much bigger than his old one. On his desk sat a special document, the first galaxy-wide peace treaty created with human help. Are you ready? Jai-yun asked from the doorway. Everyone's waiting. The treaty signing ceremony was being held in the garden level. It seemed right, the place where everything had changed over a simple dinner. As Du Jin and Jai-yun walked to the garden, they saw Hansol running toward them. Big news, he said excitedly. The council just passed the new law. All major diplomatic meetings must have human mediators now. Yu Jin was waiting at the garden entrance. It's more than that, she added. They're creating a whole new human diplomatic corps. Hundreds of humans will be coming to help. The garden was full. The Altarians, Nexus, and Valeri stood proudly together. Their shared territory was already becoming famous as an example of successful cooperation. The Meridian delegate glided over to them. The ancient species finally agreed too, she said. They're joining the peace treaty. Really? Du Jin was surprised. What changed their minds? They saw something they couldn't ignore, she explained. Worlds working together are more successful than worlds fighting each other. The ceremony began. One by one, species came forward to sign the treaty. Each signature meant another world choosing peace over conflict. Look at the ancient species, Jia whispered. The oldest races in the galaxy were signing too, their pride put aside for the greater good. Han Sol checked his tablet. Reports are coming in from across the galaxy. Worlds that have fought for centuries are asking for human mediators. They trust us now, Yu Jin said, because we proved we don't want power, we just want peace. Finally, it was Du Jin's turn to sign. As he stepped forward, he remembered that first day, when he'd jumped to save the Meridian delegate. That's what started all this, the delegate said, reading his thoughts. One human, acting on instinct to help others. Du Jin signed his name. The treaty was complete. The galaxy will never be the same, Jia Yun said. Good, Du Jin replied. Change was needed. Suddenly, all the aliens in the garden began to glow. The Meridians with their crystal bodies, the Nexus with their gases, the Altarians with their silver leaves. Even the ancient species joined in. It was a traditional sign of celebration. Yu Jin's eyes were wide. This is the first time in recorded history that all species have celebrated together. Han Sol laughed. Humans do seem to have that effect on people. The celebration lasted for hours. Different species shared their foods, told their stories, and made new friends. The garden that had helped create peace was now helping create understanding. Later, as things quieted down, Du Jin stood with his team. You know what this means, he said. Earth isn't just part of the galaxy anymore. We're helping lead it towards something better. And that's why humans always get diplomatic immunity, Jia Yun added. Because the galaxy needs us. Yu Jin smiled. Not just needs us, trusts us. They looked out at the stars through the garden's clear ceiling. Somewhere out there, more humans were already on their way to help build a better galaxy. The age of human diplomacy had begun. 5 years had passed since the Great Peace Treaty. Station GC-7 had grown 3 times larger. Hundreds of humans now worked there, helping keep peace in the galaxy. Du Jin walked through the halls of the new Galactic Diplomatic Academy. Students from every species followed him, taking notes as he spoke. As the Academy's head teacher, he had many stories to share. Remember, he told them, true diplomacy isn't about being clever, it's about bringing people together. In her security command center, Jia Yun watched over the station's many areas. Her team now included officers from 30 different species. She had taught them Earth's best security methods, protecting people while helping them feel safe. Chief Park, a young Velari officer, called out, the new human diplomats have arrived. Jia Yun smiled. Every month, more humans came to help. Each one brought new ideas, new ways of solving problems. In the research wing, Yu Jin was finishing her latest book, The Human Effect. How Earth Changed Galactic Diplomacy was already being translated into 400 alien languages. Han Sol burst into her office. You need to see this. He showed her his tablet. Remember how we helped the Altarians, Nexus, and Velari share territory? 3 more groups of species want to try the same thing. The human way is spreading, Yu Jin said happily. She looked at her research screens. They showed how peace had grown across the galaxy in the past 5 years. The Meridian delegate, now a close friend, floated into the room. The council needs you all, she said. Something big is happening. They hurried to the council chamber. Du Jin was already there. The chamber was full of worried faces. A new species has been discovered, the council leader announced. They're very different from anyone we know. They don't communicate like we do. They don't think like we do. The ancient species representatives looked nervous. The old ways won't work with them, one said. Good thing we don't use the old ways anymore, Du Jin said calmly. He turned to his team, ready for a new challenge. Jia Yun checked her security data. I'll organize a safe meeting place. I'll study their behavior patterns, Yu Jin added. I'll look for anything in Earth's history that might help, Han Sol said. The council leader looked relieved. This is why humans have diplomatic immunity, she said. You never back down from a challenge. You never stop trying to help. Du Jin looked at his friends. 5 years ago, they had been the only humans on the station. Now they led whole teams of Earth's best diplomats. You know what the best part is? Han Sol said. We've only just begun. Think of how much more we can do. Yu Jin nodded. Earth's history is full of examples. Every time we solve one problem, we learn how to solve bigger ones. And we bring everyone with us. Jia Yun added. We don't just fix things, we teach others how to fix things too. The Meridian delegate's crystal body glowed warmly. That's your greatest gift to the galaxy. You don't just help, you show others how to help themselves. Du Jin looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, a new species was waiting to join the galactic community, and humans would help make it happen. That's why we get diplomatic immunity, he said quietly. Not because we're special, but because we help make everyone special. The galaxy had changed forever, and it was only the beginning.